medical course, and Gertrude her boarding school, and both came home to stay, things were suddenly changed. The winter Gertrude came out was nothing but a succession of sitting up late at night to bring her home from things, taking her to the dressmaker's between naps the next day, and discouraging ineligible youths with either more money than brains or more brains than money. Also, I acquired a great many things, to say lingerie for undergarments, frocks and gowns instead of dresses, and that beardless sophomores are not college boys but college men. Halsey required less personal supervision, and as they both got their mother's fortune that winter, my responsibility became purely moral. Halsey bought a car, of course, and I learned how to keep my eyes off the speedometer, and after a time never to stop to look at the dogs one has run down. People are apt to be unpleasant about their dogs. The additions to my education made me a properly equipped maiden aunt, and by spring I was quite tractable. So when Halsey suggested camping in the Adirondacks, and Gertrude wanted Bar Harbor, we compromised on a good country house with a golf course near, and within motor distance of town and telephone distance of the doctor. That was how we went to Sunnyside. We went out to inspect the property, and it seemed to deserve its name. Its cheerful appearance gave no indication whatever of anything out of the ordinary. Only one thing seemed unusual to me. The housekeeper, who had been left in charge, had moved from the house to the gardener's lodge a few days before. As the lodge was far enough away from the house, it seemed to me that either fire or thieves could have completed their work of destruction undisturbed. The property was an extensive one, the house on the top of a hill which sloped away in great stretches of green lawn and clipped hedges to the road, and across the valley, perhaps a couple of miles away, the Greenwood clubhouse. Gertrude and Halsey were infatuated. "Why, it's everything you want," Halsey said. "View, air, good water, and good roads. As for the house, it's big enough for a hospital if it has a Queen Anne front and a Mary Anne back." Which was ridiculous. It was pure Elizabethan. Of course, we took the place. It was not my idea of comfort, being much too large and sufficiently isolated to make the servant question serious. But I give myself credit for this. Whatever has happened since, I have never blamed Halsey and Gertrude for taking me there. And another thing, if the series of catastrophes there did nothing else, it taught me one thing, that somehow, somewhere, from perhaps a half-civilized ancestor who wore a sheepskin garment and trailed his food or his prey, I have in me the instinct of the chase. Were I a man, I should be a trapper of criminals, trailing them as relentlessly as no doubt my sheepskin-clad ancestor did his wild boar. But being an unmarried woman, with the handicap of my sex, my first acquaintance with crime will probably be my last. Indeed, it came near enough to being my last acquaintance with anything. The property was owned by Paul Armstrong, the president of the Traders' Bank, who at the time we took the house was in the West with his wife and daughter and a Dr. Walker, the Armstrong family physician. Halsey knew Louise Armstrong, had been rather attentive to her the winter before, but as Halsey was always attentive to somebody, I had not thought of it seriously, although she was a charming girl. I knew of Mr. Armstrong only through his connection with the bank, where the children's money was largely invested, and through an ugly story about the son, Arnold Armstrong, who was reported to have forged his father's name for a considerable amount to some bank paper. However, the story had had no interest for me. I cleared Halsey and Gertrude away to a house party, and moved out to Sunnyside the 1st of May. The roads were bad, but the trees were in leaf, and there were still tulips in the borders around the house. The arbutus was fragrant in the woods under the dead leaves, and on the way from the station, a short mile, while the car stuck in the mud, I found a bank showered with tiny forget-me-nots. The birds, don't ask me what kind, they all look alike to me, unless they have a hallmark of some bright color. The birds were chirping in the hedges, and everything breathed of peace. The first night passed quietly enough. I have always been grateful for that one night's peace. It shows what the country might be under favorable circumstances. Never after that night did I put my head on my pillow with any assurance how long it would be there, or on my shoulders, for that matter. On the following morning, Liddy and Mrs. Ralston, my own housekeeper, had a difference of opinion, and Mrs. Ralston left on the 11 o'clock